We cannot allow ourselves to feel powerless. We can and will stop this evil contagion. In that task, we must honor the sacred memory of those we have lost by acting as one people. Open wounds cannot heal if we are divided. We must seek real bipartisan solutions. We have to do that in a bipartisan manner that will truly make America safer and better for all. First, we must do a better job of identifying and acting on early warning signs. I am directing the Department of Justice to work in partnership with local, state, and federal agencies, as well as social media companies, to develop tools that can detect mass shooters before they strike. As an example, the monster in the Parkland High School in Florida had many red flags against him, and yet nobody took decisive action. Nobody did anything. Why not? Second, we must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace. It is too easy today for troubled youth to surround themselves with a culture that celebrates violence. We must stop or substantially reduce this, and it has to begin immediately. Cultural change is hard, but each of us can choose to build a culture that celebrates the inherent worth and dignity of every human life. That's what we have to do. Third, we must reform our mental health laws to better identify mentally disturbed individuals who may commit acts of violence, and make sure those people not only get treatment, but when necessary, involuntary confinement. Mental illness and hatred pulls the trigger, not the gun. Fourth, we must make sure that those judged to pose a grave risk to public safety do not have access to firearms, and that if they do, those firearms can be taken through rapid due process. That is why I have called for red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection orders. Today, I'm also directing the Department of Justice to propose legislation ensuring that those who commit hate crimes and mass murders face the death penalty, and that this capital punishment be delivered quickly,
Amen.
Decisively, and without years of needless delay.
Look at that
These are
attitude.
just a few of the areas of cooperation that we can pursue. I am open and ready to listen and discuss all ideas that will actually work and make a very big difference. Republicans and Democrats have proven that we can join together in a bipartisan fashion to address this plague. Last year, we enacted the Stop School Violence and Fix NICS Acts into law, providing grants to improve school safety and strengthening critical background checks for firearm purchases. At my direction, the Department of Justice banned bump stocks. Last year, we prosecuted a record number of firearms offenses. But there is so much more that we have to do. Now is the time to set destructive partisanship aside, so destructive, and find the courage to answer hatred with unity, devotion, and love. Our future is in our control. America will rise to the challenge. We will always have, and we always will, win. The choice is ours, and ours alone. It is not up to mentally ill monsters. It is up to us. If we are able to pass great legislation after all of these years, we will ensure that those who were attacked will not have died in vain.
Amen.
May God bless the memory of those who perished in Toledo. May God protect them. May God protect all of those from Texas to Ohio. May God
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize about that. I got cut off, but basically it was just, sending out the condolences to all those who were harmed by this incident, or directly or indirectly, whether it was relative or friend, whatever the case may be. It could have been a high school schoolmate, who just died senselessly because they chose to go to a Walmart right here in America. All right. Now, please, before we get on, deal with the justice of the balance of the justice. Okay? Because there may be others who would say, whatever the case may be, that they feel like this situation is being dealt with rather harshly in light of other events. Let's just say this. This is the culmination of, as he mentioned, decades of these type of incidents that we have suffered from. I would like a totality of the lives that have passed within the last 20 years outside of 9/11. Dear Lord, all the families and lives that were taken, and members of family that were hurt and implicated by that mass murder. Okay? Like, to this day, they were still in court. Like, what, last month? They were just in court fighting. Be recognized. Still haven't been treated fairly until Trump actually had to put it in legislation. Point I'm making. The emphasis and the harshness in which President Trump is dealing with this is due to the redundance. Okay? Like, at this point, it is like habitual. And matter of fact, it's past habitual. It's routine. Okay? And I know that a lot. Oh, I'm going to have to do another video on this because I'm going to have to show some documents and things like that. I'm going to reflect back on a few previous incidents. But I want to make mention that the incident when the Republicans were on the baseball field, the congressmen, and they were shot at. The shooting that was in Dallas, Texas. Okay? That would happen. And many other shootings. As heinous and horrible as these incidents are, I do not, and I repeat, I do not come off or in any way want to be received as, in any way, being inconsiderate, okay, uncompassionate, just a little callous or harsh or inconsiderate in my address to this particular issue. Okay? But as you can hear the frustration in President Trump's voice and the delicacy which you may hear in my approach to this, is because this is something that has to be handled delicately, but it's to the point where we are at without any choice. Okay? We're without any choice. It has to be addressed. We just cannot. We cannot afford this anymore without there being some public outrage and response from our leadership that is effective and acceptable to the public and sends a message to these people who are purposefully and premeditated murders that they have committed. Ladies and gentlemen, these people are wicked and nefarious. These people that we are dealing with is past criminal. Okay? It's evil that we're dealing with. All right? And I want to deal with this point first. We are dealing with a group of people who are globalists. Okay? They're globalists, which means they are for a new world order. They are and have been working towards very effectively and in concert globally towards a one world government. Okay? And in this approach, as I mentioned time and time again, the reason why the 2016 presidential election was so significant, and you're still hearing about it every day until they get the ball back, which I pray to God they never do, okay, is because for the first time in decades, they were not at the helm. They were not in a leadership role in the seat of the presidency. And when Donald Trump came, American government came back, and not only came back, but is defending the American government against globalist tyranny and the globalist agents that we have within our government, woven throughout, that are clearly agents of our enemy, that are in places as representatives for us, that are coercively making our legislation, our lives, our lifestyle, our living, our wages, our culture subject to global tyranny. What does this all have to do with a mass shooting? This has to do with a mass shooting because if you notice, and I'm going to do some history on this, but whenever there's a major exposure or a breach in their secrecy or in their hidden agendas or their crimes, okay, whenever they're beginning to be exposed, whenever more transparency is given out, you're going to notice these type of events. Okay? And I mean, this is done, like I mentioned before, routinely, religiously. Like, this is a button that they push, like, okay, it's about to come out, boom, let's hit a school. Like, it really is. And they got so lethargic because it's been so effective in our blindness in the past, when we've had leadership that would just blow even more smoke in our eyes. We would never have an idea or an inkling that this was running way further deep than some shooter that they put on the paper, like they did all the way back in the 70s with Lee Harvey Oswald, or whoever murdered Malcolm X, or whoever murdered Martin Luther King. Like, this is how old this is. This is their routine. You understand me? So this is just like a playbook. It's like, yo, run 25 dive. You dig what I'm talking about? Yo, do the 3-4. Like, they just run, they're calling plays. Like, yo, he's about to, and why is all this happening? Okay. As you can see, when Elijah Cummings got hit, okay, previous before that, now, there's been a series of blows. Now, Trump was with Muhammad Ali. They were kind of cool, if you notice. All this racist talk is hideous. All right, anybody that know Donald Trump, like, cut it out. First of all, you know good and well this man's an American. Number one, name the last president you know that is an American, that has high school pictures, or you've seen him in the public eye growing up among us. Thank you. It's definitely not your president, BHO. BO has no photos as a youth, and if they do, they're international. Anyway, point I'm making is, here we know we have somebody who was right here in New Jersey, Atlantic City, right here in New York. All right, grew up around us, and all over the world as well. Okay, but is a native. Point being, when he started hitting Elijah Cummings on the conditions of Baltimore City and how they have been, because look, he got the books. Okay? He got all the wax. Don't get it messed up. Read Trump's Twitter. Like, enough. Read his Twitter. Just pick a month. Pick a month. And this month, you once a day go through his Twitter on that particular day. If you start in the day, start right on the 4th. You know, pick a month and start on the 4th. I don't care what month it is. It's all fire. That's all he got on this. Fire. Every last one of them. Okay, but if you want to pick back up, just go to the next week and you'll be right on the topic of what we're talking about right now, which is Elijah Cummings. Okay, who is a congressman, okay, in Baltimore, a representative. And man, look, they've been through billions of dollars over years. They've received billions, okay, not millions, billions for a city, Baltimore. How big is Maryland? Bless his holy name. How big is Maryland? Not the city, Baltimore. I said, how big is the state of Maryland? Can Maryland handle $1 billion? The city has been through billions, plural. There's rats running around in the streets. Ask somebody that live in Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like, look, think this here. Ask somebody that live in Camden what it's like. When you got all these businesses that take the money, okay, and get tax breaks and take the money all out of the city, all that comes in, and they spend it elsewhere. It never goes back into the city. Drug infested. All they do is bring in more drugs, more drugs. We know that's CIA. Okay? We already know. The cartels is like tearing us up. Like, thank God that's out in the open now. Common knowledge. Alright? So, you know, with CIA, FBI, you seen American Dream? Tom Cruise? Like, Yo, listen. They flood the city with drugs. They hit our educational system. And look, I know, I'm sorry, y'all. But I'm learning. All right, so bear with me too, please. I'm learning. I got to finish out my thoughts, but it's just so much. It's the abundance. All right, but listen, Philadelphia, I say this all the time. They don't even have instruments for the kids in school and music programs. They don't have certain books. Schools are closing. And these are all democratic cities. And listen, I'm talking about these dire straits, okay, are common conditions in a lot of the democratic districts. Majority of it, and it's all the same area, like, which shows there's a formula. All right, this leads into the point here, okay? The plays that they run and the program, and this is how they got us through television and movies and, you know, commercials and TV shows and culture and music, you know. The whole wave is to program us as a particular genre of an individual that they know how to attack and handle and dress, and basically at the end of the day always ends up with control. All right, so when you look at the condition of Baltimore, President Trump calls him out. Puts him on Front Street. He hides for 7 days. He hides. You're a public official, public representative. Like, that costs a lot of money, number one, for him. Okay? And number two, it takes a lot of effort. And it always, number three, must be that bad, it's worth it. Because any other time, they'll come bold-faced lie to you. But this one, he had to tread softly. He fell back for about 7 days. No comments, no nothing. He just came out the hole the other day with a very quick interview and slid right back in that hole. Okay, because there is no argument. And even all the discussions that we see on the news, there's never, ever, they're going to talk about how bad Donald Trump says, his rhetoric, which means the words he uses, but they're never, ever going to be able to say, or never will they say, or get caught in a lie if they say that he is incorrect. They always talk about how he presents the truth rather than the truth of the truth he's presenting. The facts. This is criminal. Why do you have billions of dollars and don't have anyone? Choose, pick a person. Go through billions of dollars and can't show nothing for it. IRS alone. They coming for that. Let alone anybody else. Point is, this became the microscope on Elijah Cummings, which allowed us to peer into the Democratic mind and the Democratic program that they have filtrated and filtered through each and every urban city and that is stricken with poverty, dominated by drugs, low education, poor housing, unclean water. Government education programs. And they just got a federal grant on their police force to load you up with cameras all over the place, hear where gunshots go off. They got their eye on everything, watching their money. Talk about they want to keep us safe. If you are nearby, in, or know of one of these places, this is the program that was able to start being revealed and identified in the exposure by President Donald Trump on Elijah Cummings. Because these same symptoms are synonymous from so many people in different cities in America. Black cities in particular, predominantly Black American. And this is not just racial. So let me tell you something. All that's done. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Maybe I was a racist. I didn't even know it. Okay, we all been hurt. We've been programmed and propagandized to believe that it's really white versus black. Let me tell you something, man. Look, a lot of this stuff be them just to keep us divided, because they know if we unite, it's a wrap. It's over for them. They know this. They have been spending billions and billions of dollars into this. Okay, so now that the lens is available and has been displayed, where we can start analyzing our cities through this lens that we see the Democratic Party has as a program for their districts. We can start identifying not only their traits, their mindsets, their intentions, their crimes, but we could also start seeing how the flares and the defenses they use in order to distract us once these particular issues are exposed or identified. And one of them in history, if you look, I want you to look into it. Go into the last 5. That's good and it's horrible and plenty. All right? And look through the last 5 mass shootings that happened in America. Okay? And then look what was going on in the weekly news during that time. Maybe it was the Kavanaugh trials. Maybe it was Peter Strzok and his lover. getting exposed to the FBI. Maybe it was James Comey getting exposed for leaking. Maybe like how many we gotta go? Maybe it was Hillary with her 33,000 emails. Maybe it was BHO with his Iran deal. Okay, and getting back on the campaign trail, which no other president ever did in history. The crimes they've all committed. Let's talk about Seth Rich. What's up? Okay, whatever happened to him, to the DNC with their servers? They're saying that Russia's hacked our election. Okay, because Trump called Hillary out on WikiLeaks and said, Julian Assange, if you're willing to help us, because he said that at a rally in front of millions watching on television and thousands present at the rally. Said it. This is all they had, so they were trying to use it as if that was conspiring with Russia, because Julian Assange, just like Snowden, instead revealed all that the DNC servers emails, which was their own fault because they had spies that were actually making the network easy to access, and there was loopholes to get all up in the network anyway. That's why Hillary had that open server, which she has crimes for, with 33,000 emails, and the emails that she has with BHO that can't even be discussed. But not only that, it was with the DNC server that they had to, because Hillary was running for the president of the Democratic Party, and she was the presidential nominee, and Seth Rich was over Bernie Sanders' campaign, and he came in, and when Bernie lost, and he noticed that Hillary might have taken it from him, this moved things up a little further, where he began to investigate and potentially dispatch all the information to a few individuals. Potentially this could be Julian Assange, and so on and so forth. And now, when he released this information during the election, everybody saw it, and they had to address it. This is when Comey met on the tarmac with Loretta Lynch in order to discuss how they were going to handle the matter, rather than an investigation. Okay? As you're analyzing these events, okay, and then what happened? Those servers never were investigated. Dear God. That means every person with all these mass emails were going out, were talking about pedophilia, John Podesta, Tony Podesta, his brother, supposedly like that. You don't even hear from these people. They just vanish. But they must be hiding and lurking, and hopefully they're in Guantanamo Bay. All right. But nevertheless, regardless, either or, their crimes are so utterly ridiculous. Okay? There are no investigations on these people, and this is why they keep throwing up this Russia investigation, because they just wanted the tension to stay here, lest you begin to look at all the treason. Not crimes. We're talking about treason. We're talking about crimes against humanity, human trafficking, pedophilia, mass murderings. All right? You know, people that were creating wars on false pretenses. War crimes. Okay? The servers that were at the DNC at the time when that information was revealed by Julian Assange and Hillary Clinton, who was a presidential nominee at the time, was under investigation by the FBI. They never even checked the servers, which are the laptops that belong to the DNC, the head of DNC, to see if any information was ever on there, or how the information might have get breached. Because they said if somebody got into hacked the election, they would have had to hack into their computer system, and which would in turn be their laptops. But they refused to give the laptops for them to be checked. These people. Okay? You're going to notice several events as such as this around the time with Seth Rich. Look at that event. Okay, check that interview out. All right, see how far that got. Huh? See what happened? Yo, listen. People. I know. Yeah, all accurate. Fact check me, please. We love this. This is what we do. Okay, fact check me, please. All right, check these events. And I'm talking about, this is at before. I'm talking about presidential nominee Donald J. Trump. I'm talking about when he was the nominee. I didn't even talk about him. I ain't talk about January 20th yet. All this is previous. just hearing he might get the seat, they was snapping. They was losing their minds. Man, they was crazy. I mean, insanity. For real. The real kind. Deranged, demonic. They lost their minds, man. You know, because they knew it was all on the table anyway. So the crimes that are just heinous. You know, for real. And to, like, oh my goodness. What could be considered a heinous crime to them would be like misdemeanors in comparison to the level and the amount and the corrosion, the damage. All right. Point being, again, is that if you take the time to look when searching through those, they never investigated those laptops at the DNC. When you start taking, when this information was coming out, okay, these events, you'll notice that there were also events like this mass shooting that transpired. So you'll notice also one of the events when things were really getting hot is when Jesse Smollett came out and he said, oh, these guys with MAGA hats came and beat me. When he got two, I thought they was homosexuals, I'm not sure, but two guys, you know, two muscle-bound men that were his hot friends. All right, he had two hot friends, and they were all together, and they came up with a great plan. He thought he was gonna fool us, okay, into thinking that he was attacked by people who had MAGA merch on. All right, Make America Great Again, and it was Trump supporters, Americans, okay, for whatever. For some reason, we're not Americans no more. We're Trump supporters. Their language is insanity. No, we're Americans. We have a president. We want to support him. What are you talking about? Like you make this like a basketball game or something. Like I'm a supporter. What? These people. I'm telling you, I'm fed up. These people, man. All right, but nevertheless, I'm an American. Okay, we had an election. That's how this goes, and we voted for our president, President Donald Trump. And nevertheless, these people are so wicked. These people are so wicked, man. I'm sorry, but the crimes just got so gross. Okay, and when Jesse did that, and then he acted like he got attacked by people that were MAGA, wearing MAGA hats, were Americans who voted for Trump. They attacked him and said, "You're a MAGA country." B, okay, smacked him up, and they tied a noose around his neck, is what his claim was. Okay, hogwash. Okay, it was all an act. Okay, not only are you not so good of an actor, okay, and really not convincing, all right, you just light skinned and you got good hair, all right, and LGBT loves you, so you got a lot of more credit than what you deserve, in my opinion, personally, okay, but not only that, you botched this up really bad where you got not only exposed, but you kind of like put other people out there. Okay, because there were phone calls that were made to him once he was exposed that this was a hoax, and how he just ordered these boys from Africa and paid them 3 bands. Okay, first of all, then they're going to look, where's he got connects from Africa? Who has connects there? The plot thickers look into that too. Look into this one, all right? It's a nice little hood topic. Let's get into this. All right, so what he did was, once he got exposed and found out that he paid these, they were actors, all of them, bad actors, by the way. Okay, and they all got caught. The reason why they wanted to put the noose around the neck is they wanted to stage a racist event. Point. Take this in mind. Again, as I mentioned, they love to do this because they want to keep us divided. So immediately, this is a red flag that lets us know and makes us clearly aware that the globalists are at work. Because this is their tactic. This is what they do. They want us to be a black versus white, whatever we disagree with, and be enemies and make it look like a racial, create that racial tension so we all go along with it. I'm offended, I'm black, you a white guy, it wasn't you had nothing to do with it, and you know what, I don't like you white black guys anyway, and the next thing you know, we fighting over nothing. This is what they want. Alright? But in all actuality, it's deeper than that. Right after the incidents happened, while he's exposed, while the day after Okay? He's getting exposed. Kamala Harris and Cory Booker still try to pull off their protest and parade that they have, where they want to raise a bill that goes against lynching and the death penalty. See how wicked these people are? They're so wicked and evil. For real. It does make you want to just, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. Alright? But the Lord is faithful. We know justice is coming. You feel me? But this is what they do. Then they go out and prey on our, this is a tough one, guys. All right, you wonder why? Because you prey on a whole people's heritage and culture, man. That's foul. It's not just one individual. Like you're even smearing this on the dead, those who died for this. Okay, there were people that were really lynched. Okay, for this scam and this scheme. Okay, and people were really abused and hurt. And then not only is you light skinned and do this, right? Supposedly black yourself, but then you nefariously smear it on all our faces and then try to pluck and pull our compassion and our outrage from the hurt that we have as a people we share, right? And you use this as a means to get your neck from not being hung. Because Kamala Harris and Cory Booker know that them and the rest of their friends are going not only to prison, but they're going to be hung and tried in military tribunals for crimes against humanity and treason. And they know that they're going to receive the death penalty. And this is why you heard the president emphasize it as such. Watch that again when he gets to that part. You see him getting a little choked up and tensed a little bit. Now he got the dry white mouth, you know what I'm saying, because he's tight. I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't going on him, you know what I'm saying, because Trump that dude. Now I'm gonna keep it real with you, like I know, you know what I'm saying, but just look, hear me out, man. Hear me out, man. All right, my turn. Hold on, bro. Like for real, because enough is enough. The media do it all day. Like stop being brainwashed like that, man. Like come on, it's so much junk they talk about Trump. It gotta make you think. Wait a minute, it gotta be something they doing. Like, who talks about somebody that much? Who has that much hate for somebody? Like, who does that? Like, it's utterly ridiculous. And that's what they want to do. They want to keep breeding that hate. But anyway, my point being is you can see his mouth getting real tight when he addresses the death penalty, because this is what it really boils down to. And he said, and I'm going to oppose the legislation and make sure that we have sufficient justice for the victims and those hurt by these crimes, and the Mexican citizens as well, because we got Mexico, you know what I'm saying, because we down there fighting against the cartels and everything, because that's what the border beef is all about. And a whole lot today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that's what the border beef is all about. That's all bread. All right, I want you to think about how many drugs is in New York City. All right, then I want you to think about how much drugs is in Los Angeles. All right, then I want you to think how much drugs is in Miami. All right, now I want you to think about how much drugs is in Dallas, okay, or Memphis, okay, or Chicago, okay, or you know what I mean. I could just go on and on and on. No slight to anybody out there. Your city popping too. We know you drug infested. Baltimore, Philly. You know what I'm saying right here. Like, but dig this here. Imagine how much all those drugs from just those few cities that we mentioned, let alone the entire country. 90%, maybe more. 90% of those drugs come across that border, that southern border. Do you know what? Excuse me? Pardon me? Do you know? Okay, I mean, no, you don't. No one does. All right? But just try to fathom. Just make one, you know what I mean? One giant leap for mankind. Like, can you do it? How much drugs is there? Annually? Incredible. All right, just simply incredible. It really is. All right, so this is the opposition that this man is up against on our behalf, though. Like, regardless if it don't touch and jive with every bit of your criteria, like at the end of the day, this is still tantamount to any furtherance of goodness in any community in America. You gotta get this situation under control. Look what it's done to us. The drugs? I don't want to hear it. Even the drug addicts will tell you that. Drug addicts will tell you that. The reason why he emphasizes the death penalty is because they're about to get served. And he's fed up when every time they start getting exposed, they want to distract our attention by some news fiasco that they have to make by murdering dozens of citizens. Innocent blood being shed as a threat to him, saying, hey, you want to press on us? Huh? You want to be prosecuting us and all up in the FBI and all up in the CIA and the NSA and the intelligence community and in Google and in Facebook, huh? And hitting us globally, and the yen just dropped. Okay, you know, China's market is crashing because you're throwing all these tariffs and you really trying to make America first, and you really making it happen. And the election's popping for this year and you about to win again. Well, how take this, Mr. Trump? That's what this is all about. I'll hit him. And he hit the closest thing to you, American citizens. You know what I'm saying? As the office is concerned. The office. Okay? The office of the presidency is concerned. All right? It's the citizens you represent that smears on you. And this is what this attack